हरे ओमज्ञातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे Hare Krishna. Today, Balaram Shakti Pro has some essential service, so he's not able to take today's morning session. So we'll be having a direct Prabhupada purport reading session. So here, this is a new chapter, the description of characteristics of Puranjana. So we'll try to see what Prabhupada wanted to share with all of us. Maitreya Vacha iti sandishya Bhagavan Barhishadir Adi Pujitah Pashyatam Rajaputran Tatrevantardhane Hare. It is said that great sage Maitreya continued speaking to Vidura. My dear Vidura, in this way Lord Shiva instructed the sons of King Barhishta, the sons of the king, also worship Lord Shiva with great devotion and respect. Finally, Lord Shiva became invisible to the princes. Oh, voice is low. Okay. Now it is clear. So the important thing to understand, generally we have a tendency to follow our mind. So even if we are following somebody, it is ultimately we are following our mind only because we like the way he is speaking, we like the way he is explaining things. So that is the general tendency people have. People ultimately they are following their mind only. And even if I say I am following somebody, I am following him because the way he is speaking is liking to my mind. That is why I am following. Then this is all based on Laukiki Shraddha. But once we get Shastra Shraddha, then we follow a certain person because he's repeating Shastra. That is very important. Otherwise, we are just following our mind and we may change also. That is the reason it happens like people are changing the Guru because the way he's speaking is no more to my liking. That and I want him to speak according to the way I like. So generally, people follow their mind. They are not following any person. They are following that person because it is his liking. We have to come to a level of Shastra Shraddha where we have faith in Shastra, we understand, and then we are following the person because he is also speaking Shastra. Then people they don't have problem with why it is said that we should be we should wait to select a guru and we should come to a proper shraddha for selecting a guru, and this is the reason so that we don't continue to follow our mind, we continue to follow a person. Even if sometimes people have this problem in ISKCON, we had this problem many times where guru fell down from their positions, and now the people under him they have great trouble, and every time we hear this case. Why they have trouble? Because they have not developed that shraddha, Shastra Shraddha. They have developed a attachment, just some Laukiki Shraddha heard from that person. If you have Shastra, this person stopped speaking Shastra, you hear from somebody who's speaking Shastra and continue our practice. It's not so easy, but it is possible. Like many of them, I heard like whoever had this problem, whose guru left and all. So what happened for them is they started taking shelter of Shastra more deeply. They started reading Shastra more deeply, and immediately they could survive, and they survived also. And now they are continuing, and this is a very important thing. So here also we see that the kings, the sons of the Prachetas, they are also depending on Lord Shiva, and they saw he is speaking from the Shastra, so they are worshipping the Guru. Prabhupada writes that this chapter contains a greatest lessons concerning the monarchical kingdom in the days of old, when King Barhishta was concerned returning retiring from the royal duties, he sent his sons to perform austerities in order to become perfect kings for the welfare of citizens. So that is, see, ultimately you want to retire. So the is in mind. Start with end in mind. So Krishna tells this in Bhagavad Gita. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. We should be clear from the beginning only what I want in life. And accordingly you work, and we have to remind ourselves about it regularly, and that's actually what we are doing every day morning. We are telling my purpose of life is to develop Krishna prema. After 10 offenses, in the end we chant to achieve the desired success, which is Krishna prema. And second thing is we have to remind it every day by we hear every day, like 1 hour 2 hours we are spending every day in just reminding our goal that I want Krishna prema, pure devotional service. Oh, this is what. So here also previously the kings entered the service of royal duties, but they were also aware that okay, I had to ultimately give it up. At that time, King Barhishta was being instructed by great sage Narada about the material world and living entity who want to enjoy it. It is therefore very clear how the kings and princes were trained to take charge of kingdom. Welfare activities for benefit of citizens were aimed at understanding the personality of Godhead. So very clear. The human form of life is especially meant for understanding God, our relationship with Him, and our activities in in His service. So these are the three things properating Sambandha, Abhideya, and ultimately it is Prayojana. Because the kings took charge of the spiritual education of the citizens, both the king and the citizens were happy in Krishna consciousness. In this regard, we should remember that the monarchical hierarchy of Prachini Parishad comes from Maharaj Dhruva, a great devotee of the Lord and most celebrated disciple of Narada Muni. In Prachini Parishad was then too much engaged in fruitive activities due to performing different types of yajna. One can actually be promoted to higher planetary systems or to the heavenly kingdom by performing various yajnas, but there is no question of liberation or going back home, back to Godhead. When the great sage Narada saw that a descendant of Maharaj Dhruva was being misled by fruitive activities, Narada took compassion upon him and personally came to instruct. So this is the main purpose. Narada saw, Arey, he's coming in the lineage of Dhruva. Why should he engage in such activities? So he felt compassion. And another thing is like uh, just two, three. Prithvi Maharaj is also there in the same lineage. And Dhruva Maharaj thought, okay, everybody went home back to God. Prachini Varshat is stuck. I should help him also. रुद्रगीतं भगवता स्तोत्रं सर्वे पचे प्रचेतसः जपन्तस्तते तपस्ते तु ते पुर्वर्षाम् अयुतां जले. He says that all the Prachetas simply stood in the water for 10,000 years and recited the prayers given to them by Lord Shiva. So they were having quite a long time, and this is actually why they are able to do so long tapasyas in the previous ages is because they are actually experiencing something very high in a Sattaguna. So in Sattaguna, you want to stay like that continuously, and you don't feel bored also if you're experiencing some pleasure there. For us, Sattuguna is boring because we get affected by Rajoguna and Tamaguna very fast. In Sattuguna, the greatest thing is boredom. The greatest problem is because you don't find any excitement. Every day you have to do yoga. Every day you have to do the same activity in the same way. It's quite boring. But why? Because if somebody is having such control on mind, then he's the most happy person. That type of happiness is little different. So this Sataguna happiness, we should know that it is something very different, and that's actually what we have to aspire for. Rajoguna happiness is results. Rajoguna happiness is name and fame. Rajoguna happiness is success. Whereas Sattaguna happiness is not like that. Now, presently, na, everybody who is going to college or school, they are told that we should get result, we should perform. Anybody is doing business, he should make so much money, he should perform, he should get name. All these things are because of mode of passion. But goodness is not like that. You see, 10,000 years, what they are doing, they didn't do anything. If you see economic point of view, Prachetas wasted 10,000 years. They're just reciting the same mantra which Lord Shiva gave for so long. No, it's not 1 2 days, 1 2 hours. It is 10,000 years. No, what economical gain they produce? No, of course, no. And propose, of course, in the modern age, one may be amazed how the princess could stand in the water for 10,000 years. However, living within air or living within water is the same process. One simply has to learn how to do it. The aquatic within the water for their whole lifespan. Certain favorable conditions are created to enable them to live within water. In those days, however, people used to live for 100,000 years out of so many years. If one can spare 10,000 years for the sake of austerity, he would be assured of success in future life. This was not very astonishing. Although such a feat is impossible in this age, it was quite possible in Satyuga. So they are experiencing something here, no economical problem. And so and they can make so much prosperity, and they were very prosperous also after coming from austerities. And immediately all the what happens in the material nature cooperates with a person very fast. Even little bit we do austerities in this material world, we immediately get results. Any tapasya has a result. If I study nicely, I get good marks. So I did tapasya. People do so much business, they work very hard, they make money. That is true. Prashini barhim kashtam kasata कर्मस्व आक्षत मानसं नारदोऽध्यात्मतत्त्वज्ञा कृपालो प्रत्योभ्यद्यत्. He says that while the princes were undergoing severe austerity in water, their father was performing different types of fruitive activities. At this time, the great Saint Narada, master and the teacher of all spiritual life, became very compassionate upon the king and decided to instruct him about spiritual life. So this is the most important thing. Even though Prachini Barshi was doing all these fruitive activities, he knows some part of the system very clearly. He is not telling children, my dear children, I am doing so much. You enjoy our property and let us have fun. No, he's sending them to perform austerities. That means any responsibility, it should be connected with austerities. We should perform proper austerities, tapasya. Then only we should take the responsibility. Then it is correct. It is not just having fun and enjoyment. It is a responsibility. This is the wrong training that is given to the to the people nowadays, especially to children in India, I don't know other places. They tell, no, you just work very hard and enjoy. Life is meant for enjoyment. No, life is meant for responsibility. Like I was telling, na, that my cousin died and his children didn't come. And many of them it is happening because there is H1B visa problems. And they're afraid of coming to India. And now it became more complicated. I don't know. It is why it is. Anyway, there is nothing good in this world if there is no Krishna. Any auspiciousness na, is only possible if you are connected to Krishna. If you are not, anything good or bad, ultimately it is bad only because Krishna is not there. What is happening in this world is like, no, people are so much interested in the politician, they're interested in the film actors and sports players, and they do so much follow up. Whole day they open the mobile and try to read about them, read about him. Array, Krishna is giving so much to us every day. He's giving water, earth, fire, and all the ingredients, food grains. He's so much giving us. We are not even bothered about him, and we are so much focusing on some people like this. That is the greatest tragedy. Array, we should have gratitude. Somebody is giving us water every day. Somebody is giving us proper food to eat every day. We should look at the person, pay some attention to him. People don't want to pay attention to Krishna. He's giving everything, and they're so much focused on knowing about somebody. They're following him. This is the tragedy, and but that is not. And then there is no responsibility. Also, life is meant for enjoyment. Okay, you work hard and enjoy, but you see, Prachini Bharshi is acquiring so much. Whole kingdom is there. He's not telling his children, "Beta, I have the kingdom. It's all yours only. Now have fun." No, that is the reason the many of the rich people's kid, na, they become very, very, very. Many of them get spoiled, and then they get used to luxury also. This is also another wrong thing. We should not get used to luxury. Even though we are rich, it is not good. We should be always simple. That is good for the mind, actually. Life is not meant for. And some people have to enjoy because they are Kshatriyas. They are meant to enjoy, but not everyone. Even Kshatriyas also here we see they are not enjoying luxury immediately because they are getting trained for it. And even Kshatriyas also they go to Gurukul and stay with Guru in a simple life. That is what they are trained to. Even Pandavas went to Gurukul, Kauravas went to everybody, in Vedic culture, they live a simple life with Guru, get trained, then come and enjoy the luxury. It is not just mm, from the childhood. That's the reason now children they say, "Oh, I cannot stay without AC room. I cannot stay if I don't have my own personal room." No, just you are staying in ashram of Guru, then it's you have a common hall, everybody sleeps there. You go fetch your own water and bring the firewood, make the cooking and all, and go for alms, go begging, and then come. So this is how they're trained to be humble, to be simple, and they make advancement. Prabhupada, right? As pointed out by Prabodhana Saraswati, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Kaivalya, our merging into Brahman effulgence is just like going to hell. He similarly stated that elevation to the upper planetary system for the enjoyment of heavenly life is just like a phantasmagoria. Kaivalyam narakayate tidasa pusha akasha pushpayate. So this is actually what they are. And कोटि कर्मनिष्ठ मध्ये एक ज्ञान श्रेष्ठ. So after so many people of karmis, one jnani is Shrestha. But in that, devotee is much better compared to even jnani also. And here Prachni Barshat is karmi. Shreyastam kata madrajan karmanatman ihase dukkahani sukhavapta shreyastanneh cheshyate. Nada asked Prachani Parshit, my dear king, what do you desire to achieve by performing these fruitive activities? The chief aim of life is to get rid of all miseries and enjoy happiness. But these two things cannot be realized by fruitive activities. So we cannot be free from miseries, we cannot get happiness. So in here, happiness means something spiritual. It is not material. So Prabhupada clarifies here. In this material world, there is a great illusion which covers real intelligence. A man in the mode of passion wants to work very hard to derive some benefits, but he does not know that time will never allow him to enjoy anything permanently. Compared with work, one expands, the gain is not so profitable. So, the compared with the work one expands, the gain is not so profitable in this world. So, this is a very important thing. No matter, like, no, there are big multi millionaires. They're working very hard and making a big empire. But the enjoyment na, is same only almost, except for the ego. It has to imagine I am very big. If because he is a multi-millionaire, can he eat 20 or 100 chapatis in a day? No, he cannot eat. He will eat limited only. We also can eat that much. We also can eat that much. So it does not matter. Even if we say we'll eat so much palatable dishes and all, every day we should not eat also. That is not good. So even like some times devotees give some dry fruit and this that. No, even though we have every day, I cannot make and eat them. It is dangerous for the body. You can eat once in a while. Every day I will eat. Every day I will all the nice food. No, we have to eat healthy food items. And fortunately, healthy things are very cheap, which are very complicated. Luxuries are costly. Krishna made in such a way. Uh, Things which are necessary, they are cheaper. Things which are not so much, then they are very costly. That is Krishna's arrangement only. Even a poor person can also enjoy. Now, tan labhyate dukkhavad anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gavira ramhasa. Bhagavatam says that, are suffering you don't expect, still suffering comes because that is there in your quota. Same thing with the pleasure also. If it is there in your quota, you will get it anyway. So why are you making so much endeavor for it? So little bit of endeavor is sufficient. And we need not make so much. That's what Bhagavatam says. धर्मस्य हि अपवर्गस्य नार्तो रताय उपकल्पते नार्तस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामलाभः स्मृतः धर्मस्वनिष्ठित पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथागच्छेत् नोत्पादयति धृतिं श्रमयेव केवलम्. The Bhagavatam is very consistent. It is telling the same thing that array, don't waste your time and all these things. So here also it is same thing. Still, if man is so compared to and we have seen also some people work very hard and we feel not needed only. Especially in cities, we can see people are slogging and they travel so much, they do so much, and it is not needed sometimes. But the gain is not so profitable. Even if it is profitable, it is not without its distress. That is also another thing. We say, oh, Prabhuji, you are living in a small house, we are living in a very luxurious house. Yes, we have to pay 5,000 rupees maintenance only just to maintain. We are living in a society. The maintenance fees of society is so huge. So, if a man is not born rich and want to purchase a house, car, and other material things, he has to work hard day and night for many years in order to possess them. This happiness is not attained without undergoing distress. Actually, now you see, very important. Actually, pure happiness cannot be had within the material world. This is like big tragedy. So it says pure happiness cannot be had within this material world. If you wish to enjoy something, we must suffer for some time, something else. So this is how the rule is. Like I was mm, giving example, like we can see little bit observations, and we can see that it is not very clean. We may not know all the things, but I'll give two very gross examples. I this is like I heard from somebody recently. One movie came, and that was a big hit movie, and the hero was very happy that he's going to release it. So what happened? He went on the first day to the theater to encourage his fans that I also came. You are coming to see my movie. And unfortunately, what happened? There was a stampede because so many people wanted to meet him and all. And one woman died. And there was a case registered on him, and he was kept in the prison for one night. Now, how many of us have to undergo that suffering of staying in a prison, and you have a case on you and you have to stay in the prison house? Now, this person went to enjoy with his fans that I made something very nice for all of you, and he wanted to enjoy, but he ended up in prison. And same thing happened after some Bangalore team. They won some IPL match, and then they wanted to enjoy with their fans in Bangalore. And suddenly, what happened? There was stampede, and many people died. And now they wanted to enjoy, and behind only just few minutes before, because of that, many people died, and they have to stop their so-called enjoyment and go back. So this is the how the things are, and every time it happens. Like my friend, he has 10 businesses, and he tells that every time two or three will always be in problem, and that causes anxiety. You cannot be happy that you have eight business nicely. No, you will be suffering because of the two business. Like one Matji, they have very rental business, and she tells this is the worst business you can have. It causes so much anxiety because the people tenants they don't give rent on time, even though they have so much property and they have so much money coming from so many other houses, but one two houses always create problem for them. So this is how the tragedy in this world is, that even if there is some enjoyment, pure happiness cannot be had within the material world. If we want to enjoy something, we must suffer for something else. So where I want to suffer is a problem. So if I want to make big money, go to some other place, yes, I can go, but I have a suffering of staying away from the loved ones. I cannot meet. And now many of the children they are not able to come because from US students and working people, when their parents die, they are not able to come because they are afraid. And it happened in my own family, so I'm seeing that. I feel very bad, no, how much price they are paying. So on the whole, suffering is the nature of this metal world, and whatever enjoyment we are trying to achieve is simply illusion. Everybody is paying price, and when this is a common thing, only thing is some people say, some people don't say, but ultimately, because problem is not the situation, that is the important thing. Problem is the impurities in our heart. As long as heart is impure, no matter you may be the multi-millionaire Elon Musk also, you may be most intelligent, most smartest, and most richest, still you cannot be happy because heart is not pure. The happiness is based on the purity of heart. See, you can enjoy luxury, you can enjoy other facilities, your senses may be very strong, they are very powerful, everything is there, but that is all. My tongue is say for example, you are eating very delicious food, your tongue is nicely relishing, like you are feeling some pleasure for the tongue, and suddenly somebody comes and says that your house is robbed or you failed the exam. Like say we give this example, like some of you have a favorite sweet, say you like gulab jamun, and one of your friend comes and says, oh, I brought gulab jamun for you, the results of the exam came, I passed the exam, and but you failed. But I am giving a treat. You eat this gulab jamun. Now, because it is very pleasurable to the tongue, but because mind is unhappy because I failed the exam, I cannot enjoy. That means, see, even the senses are very strong. You have all facilities for the senses to enjoy. You are having nice things to look around. Your house is very luxurious and all. Your eyes are in a beach house you have, and you have nice all the facilities for the senses. But heart is not clean, na? Then we cannot be happy only. So the process to be happy is Cheto Darpan Marjanam. That's why chant and be happy, because that is the only way to be happy. Any other way don't work. So here Prachetas 10,000 years happily in the meditation. They're very happy because happiness is not just with the senses. It is more with the connected to mind. So this is not known to people nowadays. They think happiness is satisfaction of mind is satisfaction of heart. No, that is not the satisfaction of heart. That's why people, why there is broken families and why there are suicides and why there are depressions and so much drugs and all these things and avoid all these psychiatric medicines is because heart is very hollow. It is not pure. So Prabhupada is trying to make us understand this very clearly. On the whole, suffering is the nature of this material world, and whatever enjoyment we are trying to achieve is simply illusion. After all, we have to suffer the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. We have we may discover many fine medicines, but it is not possible to stop suffering of death or disease. Actually, medicine is not contracting agent for either disease or death. This is another revelation. Prabhupada is telling that medicine is not contraction of either disease or death. On the whole, there is no happiness in this material world, but an illusioned person works very hard for so-called happiness. Indeed, this process of working hard is actually taken for happiness. This is called illusion. Therefore, Nardamuni asked King Prachni Barshan, this is the problem. Like, no, we know, but we cannot do it. Like Dhritarashtra personality. It is said that Bhagavad Gita was told for Dhritarashtra only. Arjuna was an instrument, but ultimately it is Dhritarashtra because we all represent Dhritarashtra. Spiritually blind. Dhritarashtra knows Krishna is God, but he cannot follow. He sometimes, once in a while, he get to senses. An interesting thing with Dhritarashtra is that he is keeping good counseling only. He has Vidura, he has Sanjaya with him, he has Vyasa comes and tells to him. And Dhritarashtra don't, like if you see Duryodhana, he always keeps good people with him. He has always keep people who are very pampering him. Like he has Karna. Karna always tells Duryodhana, you are very special. He don't keep any people who are criticizing. But Dhritarashtra was not like that. He was having good company, but still he was not able to make the choice, and that is the problem. That's why Krishna want him to listen. Same thing with us also. He want us to listen Bhagavad Gita, but somehow Dhritarashtra it didn't work with him. It didn't change. But whereas at least we will also, if we are not changing, then Krishna will also feel, oh, this is one more Dhritarashtra here is so much attached. So the instruction, that is the difficulty to make a choice in that direction. So Nardamuni asked Prachini Barishad what he desired to attain by performing so many costly sacrifices. Even if one attains a heavenly planet, he cannot avoid the distress of birth, old age, disease, and death. Someone may argue, even devotees have to undergo distress. This is the argument they make. No, and in executing austerities and in penances connecting with the devotional service. Of course, Prabhupada says, for the neophytes, the routine of devotional service may be very painful. We said, no? Routine is painful because it is goodness. No? Goodness is painful for people who are in passion and ignorance. But at least they have a hope that they will ultimately be able to avoid all kind of distress and achieve the highest perfectional stage of happiness. For the common karmis, there is no such hope because even if they are promoted to higher planet systems, they are not guaranteed freedom from the miseries of birth, death, birth, old age. Even Lord Brahma, who is situated in highest planetary systems, for them also it is not possible. So even if one is at all serious about attaining liberation from the miseries, he must take devotional service. Janma karma cheme divyam evam yo vetti tattva tektva deham punarjanma naitima meti shorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of mind, he will attain my abode. That's what Krishna is telling. The point is for devotees, even if they are going through some problems, still because their heart is getting clean, slowly they are able to experience different types of happiness. Raja uvacha न जानामि महाभागा परम कर्मा पिविद्धधि ब्रूहि मे विमलं ज्ञानम येन मुच्चेय कर्मभिर. Actually, this fourth canto we see, previously third canto was telling that adharmic life is very dangerous. It is the example of Hiranyakashipu and all. That if you live a very improper life, then you will suffer. And what is the wrong type of living? That is all Kapila explains. So first part is telling, giving the story of Hiranyaksha, and the second part is about Kapila Dev, who is telling, see, these are all the wrong way of living. This is a material creation, how living entities are wrong. When it comes to fourth canto, even the dharmic living, that is also wrong. All the yajnas are wrong. It starts with Atri Muni. He does an yajna without knowing who is the supreme. All three of them will come, and then there is Dhruva Maharaj who is doing yajna, but then he has to mitigate all the results of it so that he will be able to uh, he can he can go back come back to Godhead. And it didn't work for Prithu Maharaj also. He wanted to yajna, but Indra was stopping. And here Prachni Barshad, of course, Daksha was doing yajna, and it ultimately he ended up getting a goat's head, even though he's doing good yajna. So it don't work. Even the dharmic life don't work. That's actually what this canto is teaching. So Bhagavatam is very clear. So first, adharmic life is not good. Even dharmic life is also not good if you want to go back home, back to Godhead. So that is the point. So King replied, "O great soul Narada, my intelligence is entangled in fruitive activities. Therefore, I do not know the ultimate goal of life. Kindly instruct me in pure knowledge so that I can get out of the entanglement of fruitive activities." Sri Narottam Das Thakur has sung, "Satsanga chhadi kinu asate vilasa ke karane lagiye karma bandha pasa." This is as long as a person is entangled in fruitive activity, he is born to accept one body of another. And most of the people are like that. Either they are doing dharmic life or adharmic life, but ultimately the fruitive mentality is there for people. So this jnana karma mentality are what is holding a living entity in this material world. That's why we are so much against karma and jnana, because that is the mentality that is holding us. Karma mentality is fruitive mentality. We are all interested in results. We write exam, we want results. We work very hard in the office, we want payments. So we are focusing on the results only in this world because that is karma mentality. And that is the reason we are not getting that real, experiencing the real happiness that is coming from bhakti. And jnana mentality is free from suffering. So both the things are there for people. And anything they do, and they think rituals are bhakti. Even coming to bhakti, when people come to bhakti, they consider rituals as bhakti. This is the demon of Shakatasura. There, all the rituals, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says you are trying to kill Krishna with the rituals. It means there is no bhakti in that. It is a ritual only, and people are doing in India. This is a very thing. Of course, everywhere there will be there, but in India it is a little extra. The rituals are too much, and people think like now Ganapati come, now Navaratri is coming. All this Durga's Dasara festival is there, and now people are quite happy in doing the rituals, and they think that is bhakti. No, arre, that is karma kanda. You are just trying to enjoy the results, do something good and enjoy the result. And anytime I go to my mother, she always tells, do this, you get this benefit, do this, you get this benefit. I said, why should we get the benefit? Because that is all karma mentality. So here it's very clear. We should always work. It's not that no, okay, now I understood what is karma jnana, and tomorrow onwards I'll do pure devotion. No, it won't happen like that. We always get affected by karma and jnana. Always we have to keep the what is a vehicle in balance. Otherwise, it will go either left or right. You have to hold the steering and make sure that it is remain. That's a everyday hearing on it again and again, so that we are focused. We don't get distracted because bhakti is it is balancing both karma and jnana. Both are there. Both are needed. Also, we cannot be an extreme. So that's what Prabhupada's writing here. It does not matter whether one is engaged in pious or impious activities, for both are causes of for fruit to entanglement in material bodies. By pious activities, one can take birth in rich families, get good education, and a beautiful body. But this does not mean that the distress of life are ultimately eliminated. In Western countries, it is not unusual for one to take birth in a rich aristocratic family, nor is it unusual for one to have a good education and very beautiful body. But it does not mean that Westerners are free from distress of life. So many countries there will be protests, there are some riots and protests, even in a very advanced and rich countries also. I think why they are fighting? Everything should be nice there. No, it is not nice. That's why they are fighting. There are shootings, there are killing, there are riots. In the advanced countries, Western countries also. Because it is not, if it is not there for whole country, at least individually they have problems. Proper, but it does not mean that Westerners are free from distress of life. Although at the present moment, the younger generation in Western countries has sufficient education, they are in distress. Indeed, they are so distressed that they become hippies. That time it is hippies. Now there is something else. The laws of nature force them to accept a wretched life. Thus, they go about unclean and without shelter or food, and they are forced to sleep in street. Nowadays, they are having this more dangerous problems which cannot be even mentioned only in Bhagavatam. Thus, they go ahead unclean and without shelter or food, and they are forced to sleep in the street. It can be concluded that one cannot become happy by simply performing pious activities. So, it is very clear. People, they are working very hard for pious activities, but it don't make one happy. It is not a fact that those who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth are free from material miseries. The conclusion is that one cannot be happy by simply executing pious or impious activities. Such activities simply cause entanglement and transmigration from one body to another body. Arthadas Taker says, Karma Bandhana Pasha. So King Prachinibarshi admitted the fact and frankly asked Narada Muni how he could get out of this karma bandhana pasha. This is actually what people should understand. Oh, my neighbor, my colleague, they made so much, my classmate made so much money, he had so much wealth and all. But it won't make him happy. We should be clear from the words of Bhagavatam. That's actually what conviction Prabhupada had, not just writing here. When he came to the America and first time he saw the country America, Without seeing only, by being in India, he understood they cannot be happy because they don't have Bhagavatam with them. So happiness is possible only when you have Bhagavatam. Otherwise, not possible. So if somebody is not attending Bhagavatam, rest assured he cannot be happy. No matter how whatever he has, he can say some things, but his own mind won't let. We have to hold. We can control our mind by making his hold something very permanent. Bhagavatam is permanent, holy name is permanent, serving devotees is permanent, and serving the deities is permanent, dham is permanent. That hold something which is permanent, then only mind is stable, mind is clean, then we can be happy. So our happiness is when we please Krishna, that is real happiness. Otherwise, not possible only. So why to waste time in the careers and all? We can have something basic. That's what Krishna is. Kamasya na indriyar priti labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasa. Life is for tattva jignasa. But somehow we are saying in society we have that social prestige. Arey, I should have some basic house, some good house in good locality with good car and other things. So, but that's how we are affected. The pressure is there for people to perform and to maintain certain status. But here, Prabhupada is telling the conclusion is that one cannot be happy by simply executing pious or impious activities. Such activities simply cause entanglement and transmigration. So, this is actually the stage of knowledge indicated in first verse of Vedanta Sutra. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Therefore, start working. When one actually reaches the platform of frustration in an attempt to discharge Karma Bandhan Pasha, he inquires about the real values of life, which is called Brahma Jignasa. In order to inquire about the ultimate goal of life, the Vedas enjoy Tad Vijnanartam Saghurum Eva Bigachet. So, this is King Prachin Bhushan found the best spiritual master, and therefore he asked, no, Jignasa Tattva Jivasya Tattva Jignasa Narto Cheha Karmavi. So this is what Bhagavatam is telling. So Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. Uh, Kamasya Naindriya Priti Labho Jivete Yavata Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. That is what. And what is the tattva? That next shloka, which is the most famous shloka, Vadanti tattva, is comes. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu putra dharadhanartadhi na param vindate mudho brahmyan samsaravatmashu bharayan samsaravatmashu. Those who are interested only in so-called beautiful life, namely remaining a householder entangled by sons and wife, searching after wealth, think that such things are life's ultimate goal. Such people simply wander in different types of bodies throughout this material existence without finding out the ultimate goal of life. So, Griheshu Kuta Dharmeshu. And we can see 99% of the people are like this only, simply wandering in different types of body, material existence. Because Prabhupada writes nice purport. Those who are too much attached to family life, which consists of entanglement with wife, children, wealth, and home, are engaged in Kuta Dharma, pseudo duties. See here, wife is given. Why husband is not given? Because husband has more responsibility. He has to lead uh, the house. That is the training they are got in Gurukula. And then wife is trained to follow her husband and everything goes nice. But nowadays nobody gets training. The children are get trained how to put nice. I don't know what all things they do. No training actually for life. Life is for enjoyment only. You just have to purchase nice things, wear nice things, eat nice things. That is enjoyment. Have party. But this is all pseudo duties. Prahlad Maharaj has linked these pseudo occupational duties as deep dark well, and the Kupa. Prahlad is telling to his father, no, Tatsaduvanya Suravarya Dehina Sada Samudvignadiya Asadgra Itvatma Pakam Grahamanda Kupam. Prahlad has purposefully spoken of this dark well because if one falls into this well, he will die. He may cry for help, but no one will hear him or come to rescue him. The word Brahmyan Samsaravatmasu is significant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. So all living entities are wandering. So now if we see from Bhagavatam how unfortunate these people's situation is. But the king was very fortunate to be able to associate with Narada. We are also getting Narada Muni association because whatever King Prachani Parshat is hearing, we are also hearing the same. So we are also getting Narada's association. That is advantage in Bhagavatam. We are getting association of Brahmaji, Narada Muni, Vyasa, all these great personalities association we are getting. We just have to open our heart and listen to them. Narada Vacha, Bho Bho Prajapate Rajan, Pashun Pashyatayadvare, Samyappitan Jiva Sangan, Nigranena Sahasrasa. The great sage Nardamuni said, O ruler of the citizens, my dear king, please see in the sky those animals which have been sacrificed without compassion, without mercy in the sacrificial arena. And Prabhupada writes, because animal sacrifice is recommended in Vedas, these are animal sacrifice in almost all religious rituals. However, one should not be satisfied simply by killing animals according to direction of scriptures. One should transcend the ritualistic ceremonies and try to understand the actual truth of the purpose of life. Krishna tells, Traigunya Vishya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavajna. Go beyond the Vedas. That is the instruction is given. Don't get stuck up there. Because Vedas are Yamimam Pushpitam Prabhavanti Avipaschitaha. Vedavada Ratah Partha. They are actually following Vedas, but it is all giving all this instruction. That's why Narada was upset with Vyasdev. Why did you write all these things? Narada wanted to instruct the king about the purpose of life and invoke a spirit of renunciation in his heart. So, jnana and vairagya. Without knowledge, one cannot become detached from material enjoyment. So, this is a very important point. We need knowledge to be detached from material enjoyment, and that is a higher way of enjoying life. It's not that Veda is not saying don't enjoy, but enjoy in a higher level of consciousness. So that also elevates us. It gives enjoyment lower level, but it also gives enjoyment a higher level. What is needed to enjoy at a higher level to elevate the consciousness, and the highest consciousness is Krishna consciousness, Purna Vikasita Chetas. So without knowledge, one cannot become detached from material enjoyment, and without being detached from material enjoyment, one cannot make spiritual advancement. Karmis are generally engaged in sense gratification, and for this end, they are prepared to commit so many sinful activities. So Narada Muni, he is going to show Prachni Barshat what all things are going to happen. Ye te tvam sampratikshante sambrashto vishasham tava samparetam ye ku tais chindyant uttai manaivaha. Now they is saying all these animals are waiting your death so that they can avenge the injuries you have inflicted upon them. After you die, they will angrily pierce your body with iron horns. Narada wanted to draw King Prachni Barshit's attention to the excess of killing animals in sacrifice. It is said in the Shastras that by killing animals in sacrifice, one immediately promote them to human birth. Similarly, by killing their enemies on a battlefield, the Kshatriya who fights for the right cause also elevates to the heavenly planets after death. In Manu Samhita, it is stated that it is necessary for a king to execute a murder so that the murderer will not suffer for his criminal actions in his next life. On the basis of such understanding, Nardamuni warned the king that the animals killed and the sacrificed by the king await him at his death in order to avenge themselves. Narada Muni is not contradicting himself here. Narada Muni wanted to convince the king that overindulgence in animal sacrifice is risky because as soon as there is some discrepancy in execution of such sacrifice, the slaughtered animal may not be promoted to a human form of life. Consequently, the person performing sacrifice will be responsible for the death of the animal, just as much as a murderer is responsible for killing another man. So, this is a very important thing that because not all the time it is successful yajnas. That's actually what happened with Tvashta also. He performed such elaborate sacrifice, the result he didn't get properly. He got a son who will be killed by Indra. Same thing happened with Daksha. He did such a huge, nice sacrifice. Even Lord himself is about to come, but he got a goat head. The point is that not all the time sacrifice will be successful. So if you are doing so much elaborate sacrifice, and there will be so many discrepancies also then, and then all these animals who didn't get, they're all going to take revenge. And then another thing which Prabhupada says is that when animals are killed in slaughterhouse, six persons connected with the killing are responsible for the murder. The person who gave permission for killing, the person who kills, person who helps, the person who purchases the meat, the person who cooks the flesh, and the person who eats it. All become entangled in killing. Narada Muni wanted to draw king's attention to this fact. Thus, animal killing is not encouraged even in a sacrifice. So this is the not actually needed also. For us, we are doing everyday sacrifice. We also have to kill, but our false ego. Artate katayishyemum itihasam puratanam Puranjanasya charitam nibodha gadato mama. So now here we have heard about Puranjana from Vishnu Chakra Thakur's commentaries, but we'll try to hear Puranjana from Prabhupada's purport because Prabhupada's purport are huge. Prabhupada want to share many things. We have to take association of Prabhupada. If Prabhupada comes today to your house on 22nd of September, what he will speak to you? He will speak the same points which is telling in the purports here. So we are very fortunate to hear from Prabhupada is directly coming. So if Prabhupada has to come, he will say, okay, give your fourth canto and he will take the 25th chapter and he will read. And what Prabhupada will say, the great sage, in this connection, I wish to narrate an old historic connection with the character of a king called Puranjana. Please try to hear me with great attention. So if Narada comes, he will tell Puranjana story. Prabhupada comes, he will tell this. The great sage Narada turned towards another topic, the history of King Puranjana. This is nothing but the story of King Prajani Barsha told in a different way. In other words, this is an allegoric presentation. The word Puranjana means one who enjoys in a body. This is clearly explained in the next few chapters because a person entangled in material activities wants to hear stories of material activities. Nardamuni turned to the topics of King Puranjana, who is none other than King Prachini Parshad. Nardamuni did not directly uh, deprecate the value of performing sacrifice in which animals are sacrificed. Lord Brahma, however, directly rejected, Lord Buddha, however, directly rejected all animal sacrifices. Srila Jiva Goswami has stated, Nindasi yag, Jaydev Goswami said, Nindasi yajna vidheraha shruti jatam. So the word shruti jatam indicates that in Vedas, animal sacrifice is recommended. But Lord Buddha directly denied authority of Vedas in order to stop animal sacrifices. Consequently, Lord Buddha is not accepted by followers of Vedas because he did not accept authority of Vedas. So this is the point. So Narada Muni is not rejecting what Prachini Barshit is telling directly, but he is trying to tell that this is not needed much. He is not telling zero. He is telling you can do something better. If somebody is a very intelligent person and he is just doing some simple job or anything, somebody will come and say, no, you can study more and you can get a better job. So he is suggesting like that. So you are meant for something higher grade. You are sitting in a lower grade. You can pass. You can be promoted to something. So Lord Buddha is depicted as an agnostic or atheist. The great sage Narada cannot declare the authority of the Vedas, but he wants to indicate to King Prajni Barshid that the path of karma kanda is very difficult and risky. So the foolish persons accept the difficult path of karma kanda for the sake of sense enjoyment, and those who are too much attached to sense enjoyment are called mudas. It is very difficult for a muda to understand the ultimate goal of life. And that's why Prabhupada is telling in our propagation of Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that many people are not attracted because they're all mudas, engaged in fruitive activities. It is said, Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopayana shantai. If good instructions are given to foolish rascal, he simply becomes angry and turns against the instruction instead of taking advantage of them. Because Nardamani knew this very well, he indirectly instructed King by giving him the history of his entire life. So he's telling that he wanted to tell, but he don't want to make the king happy because he's already foolish because of that situation. But slowly he understands. So in order to weld, wear a gold or diamond nose pin or earring, one has to pierce the ear or nose. Such pain endeavor for the sake of sense gratification is endeavored on the path of karma kanda, the path of fruitive activity. If one wish to enjoy something in future, he has to endeavor trouble in the present. If one want to become a millionaire in the future and enjoy riches, he has to work very hard at the present moment in order to accumulate money. This is called karma kanda. Those who are too much attached to such path undergo the risk of anyway. Narada Muni wanted to show King Prachin Barsha how one undergoes great troubles and miseries in order to engage in fruitive activities. A person who is very much attached to material activities called Vishayi. A Vishayi is an enjoyer of Vishaya, which means eating, sleeping, and mating. Narada Muni is indirectly indicating through the story of King Prachni Barshad that eating, sleeping, mating, defending are troublesome and risky, which everybody is doing here. It's very unfortunate. The word itihasa, old, history, puratana, old, indicates that although a living entity lives within this material world, the history of living entity in the material world is very old. In this regard, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sang अनाद कर्म फले पड़ी भवर नव जले तरी भरे ना देखी उपा. Due to my past fruitive activities, I have fallen into the water of material existence. I cannot find any way to get out. Every living entity is suffering in this material existence, past activities. Therefore, everyone has a very old history. Foolish materialistic scientists have manufactured their own theories of evolution, which are simply concerned with material body, but actually this is not the real evolution. The real evolution is the history of living entities who is Puranjana. So this is very important to understand how we are entangled and how we are suffering in this material world. So very unfortunate situation. And one important thing is that uh, this fruitive activities and all will not make us happy anytime. We have to come to the path of bhakti. So, and Prabhupada is helping us to come to this path. This is actually very painful path, the karma path and other things. And so we should be grateful to Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Okay, we'll end here. Gurindra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.